to the What Are You Driven By podcast. This season, in season 2, we're really exploring the challenges and the changes that shaped who people are and also what drives them. So maybe you're going through a difficult time or someone you love is going through a difficult time. Our goal this season is that you might discover someone who went through something similar and can give you the strength or the insight to help you make it through. So make sure you subscribe to the What Are You Driven By podcast and connect with us online at Driven By Co. Now, on this episode, we have Cristiane here with us. She's a realtor, property administrator, and a mother. Cristiane, why don't you introduce yourself?
My name is Cristiane de Oliveira. I am a daughter. I am a mother. I am a property administrator and real estate agent and psychologist and teacher, you name it. I'm everything.
Wow, that's a lot of hats. Amazing.
I guess you have to wear many hats in different situations. But yeah, I was born in Brazil. I came at the age of 9 years old.
Wow.
I, just like every immigrant that start their life in a different country, we came along, and here I am with all the stories that I have to say and tell, and the challenges that I have faced to be who I am today.
Wow, amazing. I can imagine with all the hats that you're wearing and, coming here as a young girl, I'm sure there's so much that you went through. So, do you want to share a bit of your story and how you got to where you are today?
Of course. Where do I start? um, like I mentioned, I was born in Brazil, and I was born in a small city named Minas Gerais. For those of you who don't know, it is near São Paulo, just for some geographic. We are known for our best food. So trust me, you will indulge in many tasty foods with us. And so I came at a really young age to Canada due to some violence that took place that had our family make an abrupt decision to come to Canada to protect us. And that decision was made by my dad and my mom. I was very young at a time, and with no understanding of the precautions and around the situation that was happening, we just had to make a really quick decision to come. And so that happened. And when we came to Canada, we struggled like every immigrant, whether that's financially. I think I remember on those, really cold winter days. Trust me, coming from Brazil, a tropical country, we are in Alaska,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
And and so I remember, the hard times we had initially with, taking the bus to do grocery shopping miles away with a half ankle of snow and a cart, and just you and God hope
Wow.
that you get that bus on time before you freeze. That was us in the
Wow.
beginning of our journey in Canada.
And it gets cold. So taking the bus and traveling to the grocery store with all those groceries, it's for those of you who don't live in Canada, it's not easy. And some days there's a heck of a lot of snow.
A
Oh,
100%. Oh my goodness. And I remember that we also lived in a residential slash commercial place. So it was a storefront we lived in. And the owner, the landlord, converted into a 1 bedroom. And so this so-called 1 bedroom, we had to pass by this 1 bedroom to go to the bathroom. So it was funny. And our my siblings, which I have siblings, by the way, which I'm very grateful for. We lived in the living room. We slept in the living room. But for us to be able to travel across to go to the bathroom, we had to go through my parents' room, which was right in the middle. So it was definitely a very humbling experience. And it has taught us to just value one another, and that we didn't need much to be happy as long as we were okay and we were healthy and we had food on our table. That was my humble beginning.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that is incredible. And I didn't know that you had siblings, but I think, if we're lucky enough to have siblings, especially when we're young, it's almost like a best friend that's going through it at the same time as you are. And someone your age, well, I don't know if your siblings are near your age or not, but someone who can sort of understand it from your perspective.
That is true, Deandra, and I think I am blessed to have siblings that are close by. We are 2 years apart from each,
Oh.
so I'm the youngest.
Oh,
Believe it or not, I am the youngest out of them all. But funny how life definitely twisted that. And as the youngest, I learned a lot from what an oldest perspective would have. And so a lot of people don't expect that when they meet me as being the youngest. You have the society, view, the point of view that you're going to be spoiled, you're going to be close to your parents, and all these things. But although I did have moments like that, most of my life became growing up fast,
yeah,
and I had to learn that quick.
yeah.
um yeah, coming to Canada and and making certain decisions, and being around the people that I was at a time, formed into the person that I am today. And so I'm very grateful for them. They are a huge part of my life. They are great uncles and aunts. And, with all our differences, with all our siblings, I think everybody has their their own sibling stories, and how much they it is a love and hate relationship at the same time.
Yep. I certainly do.
You do, so you understand completely how it goes.
Yep.
Think, as time goes by, as you get older, you laugh at all of this, right? You start realizing that you need each other more than anything else to keep going. And the love and the affection and just the company of your siblings is super important in your life. So I learned that as well.
Wow, that's incredible. I'm so glad that you had them with you. And I think you're right, when you were talking about how you were forced to grow up early, I think that's so true because if you're constantly surrounded by people who are older than you, you're almost thrust into their challenges and you're experiencing things from almost a higher level. So I'm sure it did probably force you to grow up. And maybe that's why. So I'm jumping right into your career now. I mean, you're a realtor, you are a property administrator, you're doing a lot. So how did you get into that?
Oh, interesting, interesting. I wish I could say I jumped a bridge and here I am, but that did not happen. I think that was progressively. And I think just like you mentioned in terms of growing up fast, definitely a huge impact was the maturity around me. But also because in times where my parents couldn't make the decision, where me and my siblings had to step up. And those decisions formed my siblings and I, and formed us to make important decisions, whether that's financial, whether that's, responsibilities in the household, who takes the chores when our parents are out there making a living for us and we are going to school. And even the choices of, where do we want to be in a career terms wise, and how is that going to impact my family? It is going to help them, it is going to grow them, it is going to grow me and my, I think there's so many factors that you think in regards to your future, as an immigrant in Canada, that it just becomes a driven passion. It becomes a determination of getting to that point, because you don't want to be any longer in where you've been. right? You don't want to struggle anymore. You don't want to see your parents crying for not being able to pay their bills on time. And, and not only that, the amount of stress that it caused on my family back home, right? For not being near one another and losing people, losing loved ones that we couldn't be there for because of the status that we had in Canada. So it was very hard to process all of this while trying to build a future, while trying to make it worth that we did come here for something. We're not here to, like we made a right decision to come. Let's make it worthwhile. Let's keep going. It's going to be hard. And I think those decisions, those experiences of having to also be a parent to my parents when they needed, because they also were dealing with a lot of things, helped me grow up, helped my siblings grow up. So it impacted who I am today and the decisions that I made to be in the field that I am today. And that it has a lot to do with my feminine side, which is being a mother and being able to take care and being able to help others. And the decision on why I became a realtor, which is so funny. I did have friendships and relationships that definitely encouraged me to go through that path, which is so funny. I never wanted to be a realtor. Okay. Fun fact, I hated realtors.
Hey, what?
Sorry for you out there. I am a realtor myself, so technically I'm also waiting on myself right now. But I think I was just unknown to that place and so unfamiliar of what it really was, and just was known to the side of what happened on social media and in the news of what realtors were like this and were like that, and they stealed money, and they were just money based and transactional based in what I mean. And that wasn't where I wanted to go, right? Because of my passion for helping others and just being able to serve others. I never imagined myself being such a transactional person, right? So it definitely changed my perspective once I learned that not everybody can be transactional, that I could be transactional in some ways, but still be me. And that turned everything around.
Wow. So it was a mindset shift almost towards the profession. And also you had that friend that was encouraging you.
Oh yes, absolutely. And I think the research as well, I think it's super important on who you place by your side. And that I've learned a lot throughout the years, Deandra. And you must know that yourself on your mindset is also contributed by other people around you. How they are pouring into you is so important, because you allow people to be in your circle, right? And the question is, what are you allowing to contribute to the mindset you have now is so important. And I've been learning that so much in the past, especially in the past year, how important, how the story you tell yourself and how others influence you. Super impactful.
Yes. Yes, I couldn't agree more. And I talk a lot about controlling your social environment and your environment in general. If you create a social environment or bring people around you that are contributing a negative mindset, and that just becomes normal for you, all the people around you are very negative, then eventually you're going to buy into that if that's what's normal in your circle. But if everyone is excited, if everyone has a positive mindset, you're going to aspire to be like that. So just like you said, it's so important to choose who is contributing to your mindset and who is around you, who is close to you. So I'm really glad that you had, with your family growing up, you had a positive environment that also pushed you into doing better, into doing your career. And you looked around saying, I've got to do this. I've got to help my parents. I've got to help my child. And then your friends are encouraging you in a different way. Hey, you can be a different kind of real estate agent. So I think that's so incredible on your journey. I feel like you've overcome so many challenges. And my next question is really about, your motivation seems so strong, but were there times when your motivation was low? And what
No,
did you do to overcome that?
all the time. I think truly, I think people have this perfect idea that you wake up happy every day. And that is not true. A relationship with yourself is a journey, is not a destination. And, you wake up, you might feel sick, and that specific hour, you don't even want to get up, to be honest, right? But what made me go to the motivation aspect is my discipline, my perseverance to keep going, and when I set my goals, and when I set the things that I want to do for the day or for the next few months, I definitely want to focus in a few things. And most of them is my health, my physical health and my mental health. And when I have been dismotivated, I had so many moments, and not just day to day regular dismotivation, but also life, when life throws at you huge curveballs that you say, wow, this one is going to take me out, and in many aspects. For example, in the past year, I have been going through a separation, and that has been pretty tough. I think nobody ever thinks to be in that position, right? I never thought I'll be in this position ever in my life, and unfortunately that relationship, I had to leave. That relationship no longer served me and no longer served the purpose in my life from now where I am looking to be and where I'm looking to go. And that was a huge motivation. That was a huge shift in my life. And,
Mhm.
at the same time, I had just launched my career in real estate. I had recently admitted a property management, position, and going through that and being able to be there for my son and being able to be there as a daughter. There were so many parts of myself that I had to fill in my life, but I wasn't okay within me to do that. I was not okay at all. And when those areas of my life started to fall short, I had to come up with a solution right away. I had to figure the next step, and not necessarily transactional, but I stopped myself. I had to root back to myself. I had to ask a lot of hard questions to myself on, going back to what my purpose is and to why I was here, why I made the certain decisions that I made, and where is it leading me to. I think I had to really stop and reprogram my brain. And when you jumpstart a car, that was me trying to jumpstart me, to work again, to see, no, let's see what you did wrong. Let's see what you can improve. Let's see what you need to leave behind, the relationships you need to cut, and what areas you need to work more to be healthy for you to be able to be a mother, a daughter, a realtor, and a property administrator, right? And so those were huge, huge changes in my life in the past few years. And trust me, it was each day learning something different about myself.
Mm.
I honestly, Deandra, I think one of the most important things was my faith. I
Wow.
am very, very close to my faith. And for me, it's such an importance to, sorry, it was such an importance to have a relationship with God. And that had helped me so much. It has shown me part of myself that I didn't see before. And it gave me grace. It gave me hope to
Wow.
keep going and to keep helping others around because I was able to find that fulfillment within me. And because I was able to have grace and forgiveness within myself. I think we're so hard on ourselves, especially in this hustle culture. We hold ourselves up too high, and when that doesn't happen, we fall so short that we blame ourselves for it. And sometimes we blame ourselves for years and we don't understand why. And when you stop and face those, those things that are bothering you, those things you think it's your fault for, at the end of the day, you realize it is not. You were just doing your best at that time.
Exactly.
And so I think, my faith with God, my family, and the decision that I also took to change, the decision that I took to, this is enough. I have to take, we have a saying, I don't know if, many of you believe in God or, congregate any churches, but we have a saying, pick up your cross and carry it. And when I decided to pick up my cross, I started to see a lot of things going differently. And and I started to see clear, and I started to have grace when I fell. And I started to teach that to my son as well. And I started to teach to him that it's okay to show anger. Like, it's okay, to feel certain emotions. Just give yourself grace, pick up and go, and so it was a lot of that throughout the years. So every time something comes along today, even though I feel those emotions, I feel everything. I think what people don't understand is that, when you're dismotivated, it's like a click. Oh, I'm happy again. No, you keep going. You still feel the same emotions, but you keep going, and that's the difference. The perseverance and the determination of you to keep going will slowly change your mindset and make you feel better. So the results of your happiness will come after you make the work, not before. So
Yes. I couldn't
yeah.
agree more. I couldn't agree more. You have to show up sometimes, even if you're not feeling like it. If, sometimes you're sad or angry or whatever the emotion is that's holding you down, you still got to show up. And over time, the consistency in you showing up for yourself and for your family and all the other ways that you need to show up in life, you're right. Over time, those emotions start to change. And so I want to ask you, that's going through a separation while also trying to take care of your parents and your son. What was the biggest lesson that you learned in that process?
Oh,
I know, big
every
question.
oh my God, I think was to be patient. That change does not come as fast as you think. And that the waiting part is the important part. What are you doing while you're waiting in between steps? I think I have been such an anxious kid since early on, and always wanted things there and then and now. And even now with, Uber Eats, with a click of a button, you get so used to the dopamine of now, of now, or even tomorrow or right away, that it becomes such an anxious society. And talking about me, I'm a victim of it. And I wanted things right away, right? I wanted change. I was just tired of staying the same old place, fighting the same old battles. And I wanted to change, but I had to step back and understand that even though I wanted to change, I needed to take it slow. I needed to have patience, and I needed to take time, because if I rushed into the process, it won't be as good as if I had when I was waiting, when I was being patient. I guess you could even say, as when you're even I paint a lot. I love painting. I love
Oh,
arts, music aspect as well. And so when you're composing a song or when you're painting, sometimes you don't get the painting or the music done in a day. It takes time. And it takes time to paint all the corners and all the details of the painting and to perfect it. And so I've learned a lot to, instead of just rushing the process completely, is give it time. A door may be open that you never thought that it would, and with patience you start making this decisions more clearly, and you start making decisions that are when they're important to make, especially as a mother, Deandra. The decisions are not just about me anymore, right?
great.
Everything that I do, everything that I think, is this going to impact my son? In what way? Right? Is this going to be an example for him? And not just for him, but for the people around me. And not in a pleasing way, but in a way that I stay true to my values and to my core. Right? Is this what I am looking to portray? And so that is what I have learned and still am learning. It's an ongoing journey, is being patient, is not rushing the process. What is meant to be will be.
Yeah.
And just losing the control of things a little. And in my professional life, and I think many realtors can relate to this, and even business owners, is we over, control things. We like to have everything under our control because it calms our anxiety. Knowing everything, the time, the date, and what that client might say and what you're going to possibly respond back. I think the sometimes the mystery and the good part is not in the knowing, right? Is the mystery of it, is the unknown. And so the patience that I'm talking about that has taught me is is to also be okay with the unknown and with the unexpected, and you will deal as it comes sometimes. And you don't have a book to know everything that's going to happen, and how perfect you're going to treat either the clients, or how you're going to deal with a transaction. You don't know 100%. You can only predict, but if you predict too much, then you're going to cause yourself to struggle because you're going to have all this anxiety for no reason, right?
Mhm.
um so patience has been a biggest lesson for me in this season. This season.
Wow. Cristiane, that was beautiful. And I could tell that you're really speaking from the heart, and how, the process of your separation and the challenges that are on your shoulder have really helped you and put you in a state where you're looking to learn more about yourself and be the best version of you moving forward. So I think that's beautiful. And I think we can all remember that Rome wasn't built in a day. And I think it's valuable to be aware that you're right. Our society is all about quick hits of dopamine, immediate satisfaction, immediate gratification.
Yeah.
And that's not how great things are built. And we are all capable of great things. So I think that's so important to be patient with ourselves, because a lot of people give up. They think that, oh, if I can't build this business or be successful within 2 weeks or a month, then clearly I'm not good at it. And then they jump to the next best thing. So
Exactly, Deandra. And it's funny when people come, sometimes my friends, they say, how are you still standing with all of this that has happened in your life? You know, um, Coming from an immigrant to now being able to sell my parents' home is such a gratitude, and so happy for them, and something that I always dreamed of doing, and it's serving. um and I can just look back in my life, is the besides the patience, Deandra, is being grateful. You will not know how far you've gone if you didn't take a peek back.
yeah,
So And that's what I do. And I try to do that every day, and, I got home safe. Thank God for that. The little things matter, and that has taught me how to be more grateful for the people around me, for the things that I have. It demonstrates me and it shows me that I don't need a lot to be happy or satisfied, right? Everything I have today is everything I need. And that's it. Whatever is more than that is a bonus.
Yes. Oh, amazing. And that's so funny. That's the question I was going to ask you next. Like, what do you think people need in life in order to be happy?
Oh, I guess I jumped the wagon too
That's
fast.
okay.
Oh, yes. Um, oh Lord, how many lessons we can learn from each other. I think the biggest lesson is going through yourself. I think you can definitely avoid regular, life daily lessons from your friends, from people, but a lot of the lessons that in order to be happy, for you to figure that out, you have to go on your own. It's a never ending journey. It's not a destination. Once you put that in your head that it's not a destination, it's a journey, you will relax and you will start finding happiness in the little. You will start to see things that you didn't before, because we're so focused on the end goal that we forget to be present and forget to enjoy what we have now, and forget to, cherish that smile on that person's face and give them a hug, or, say I love you to your parents, because you don't know the day of tomorrow. You don't know what is going to happen. And that is what I goes back to what I was saying, the mystery. If we know what we're doing all the time, why would we be called to have faith if we knew everything that was going to
Yeah.
happen, right? So the faith we have and we need to have is to trust that we have everything we need at the moment. That's all you need right now. You are where you need to be right now. And don't look at happiness as a destination. It's a never ending journey. And happiness will find you in moments along the way. So that's what I have as a lesson to people is don't, don't pressure yourself to be happy now. Maybe you might not be happy now, but you'll be happy tomorrow. It's a season changes, and we have 4 of them in many places.
I couldn't agree more. And one thing that I'll add to that is sometimes we have to choose it. And sometimes we're faced with 2 choices. We can look at the glass as half empty or half full. Is it enough or is it not enough? So
Right.
leaning your mindset towards what you have being enough is a step towards happiness. So I'm glad that you pointed that out. And so
You're
I have to ask,
absolutely
right? I have to ask you formally, Cristiane, what are you driven by?
right. Oh Lord. um, oh my God. I have driven by, I think I said so many of my values, but I'm driven by helping others. I think besides my faith and besides the core system of me, which is my family faith, is helping others. So by helping others, like helping yourself, right? I think there's a huge difference when you're helping others and you don't know how to help them. The biggest indicator of that is not being able to help yourself, right? So biggest reason why I'm driven by is helping others like I help myself, and just being able to serve and give without wanting anything back, because I think it's not a secret Santa every day out here, guys. Like, you're never gonna get a back every day, right? Or get that smile that you expected on somebody's face when you give them a compliment, or or even in a transaction where you're expected to get a certain commission, and so on. There's so many examples. Like, I I have, I have been facing so many people daily at work and being able to put my needs aside sometimes and just being able to be there and serve them and see how I can make their life at ease makes me happy, makes me see if I am able to make a difference in one person's life, I'm the happiest, right? And which is why it's so funny being in real estate, which is such a transactional business. And you have me, Cristiane, wanting to see how can I serve you better? How can I make this experience, something that you will tell your friends and your family about me and say, that person, I trust her. She's not doing things only with the transactional eyes, but sure, she's doing it because of honesty, of her integrity, of her heart. And that's what I'm driven by. I'm driven by the passion to help others and being to serve others, even if I don't get what I expect back, but I know that's who I am. And if that's what I have to give, I'm going to continue giving, even if I don't get anything back. Right.
I love that. And I think that based on the story that you shared with us from your early childhood, it just goes to show that you saw people struggling around you. And it's been built into who you are as a person now, Cristiane, that you just want to elevate others. And I think that's a beautiful thing that you're able to do that in the work that you're doing. So I think that's a great way to set you apart. And that drive is really what's going to make all the difference in your life. So I want to thank you so much for
Oh,
joining us on the podcast and being so vulnerable and sharing your story, because I know there's somebody out there listening who's going through something similar, who just needed that little bit of advice. Maybe it was the patience, right? Maybe they're going through a separation, who knows? And they can take something away from your story. So where can our listeners find you?
Oh, Instagram, I'm where to go to, but I think I want to first of all thank you so much, Deandra, for this opportunity. I loved every minute of it, and I just hope I am able to share even more if it's going to make a difference in somebody's life. And I think you can find me on Instagram. I think at Cristiane Realtor. You can find me in a couple websites on Google too, but I am mainly on Instagram. You can catch me there in a second. So thank you
Wonderful.
so much.
And I will tag you in the caption and the description of this episode. So thank you all for tuning in to this episode of the What Are You Driven By podcast. We hope to see you on the next episode for another life-changing story.